Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to another episode of Wise the Dome TV. Man, today I have a very special guest. This one, I had reached out to this brother a while back, and it's on me. I forgot to even respond, just being so busy. But he was gracious enough to come through today. He has one of the best hip hop YouTube channels out there, and as like straight up though, you'll see whenever you check him out. Great analysis, um, great topics that he discusses. Not all just breaking down bars. It's which are those are dope as well, but it's real commentary on real things in regards to hip hop and hip hop culture. The name of the YouTube is Top Five Troy. Now it was uh, Top Five rap website. Yeah, yeah. So, but Top Five Troy. Now the link is in the description. Um, Thank you, my brother, for coming through, man. For real.
Yep, top5rapwebsite.com. You already know what's going on. Yeah, you see how you couldn't remember the old name of the channel?
Yeah,
That's kind
yeah.
of why I changed it. Top5rapwebsite.com is still up, but yeah, I just changed the YouTube name because everyone told me, like, yo, you should change the YouTube name to something that people can remember. So I
No
listen to
doubt.
the people. I try to.
No doubt, no doubt. Again, man, you're doing great work. Great
Appreciate it.
commentary. You were definitely one of my go-tos during the Drake and Kendrick battle, because a lot of people, again, their commentary on it wasn't necessarily what I was looking for, and you were killing it, man. Still killing it with all the different topics you're discussing. But today, I definitely want to start off. J. Cole, all right, new song, Port Antonio, right?
Right.
Before we I guess get into some of the bars within the song, what did you think of the song?
Thought it was a good song. You got the Lonnie Liston Smith Garden of Peace
Hmm.
sample, which I love. I tried when I was taking piano class, I tried to learn how to play that.
It's one of the best
But
songs ever, man.
yeah, like it's I thought it was going to be easy because the piano sounds, it doesn't sound as complex as it is when you look at the notes on the paper when you're trying to read the music. And amount of sustainato and all this, I just never got around to being able to play that song. Maybe the first couple of keys, but I love that sample. Loved it when Ski Beats used it on Dead Presidents by
Hmm.
Jay-Z. So off top, I just love the music behind that song, the actual music. Now the song itself, I was actually thinking about this today as I was thinking about the song. I kind of held back in my reaction video. It's on my channel. You
Yeah, I
guys can
watched it.
watch it if you want.
Mhm.
I kind of held back on my thoughts, which I don't normally do. I don't normally like hold back on anything I have to say, even if it's unpopular.
Mhm.
But I held back on that, and I'm still kind of like puzzled as to why. And I kind of wish I would have spoke how I actually felt at the time when I first heard it, just to get my raw opinion and honesty.
Mhm.
But I didn't, and now I can't explain why I felt
Mhm.
uneasy about the song. I think a part of it is because the song Port Antonio by J. Cole, it feels a little passive aggressive. I
It
think that's a
does.
part of why, and I don't know. I can't explain it, but I think it's a good song. I think J. Cole's words and his actions are going to age gracefully. But there's another side of me, which is like, well, this is hip hop and this is
Yeah.
competition. And you guys have been in competition, the big three that you guys have been throwing friendly jabs. And I don't know. I think J. Cole had a great song. I'll keep it positive. Good song, good message. Salute to the guy.
So, okay. So you're keeping it positive, but I'm going to read a few tweets that I saw today
Yeah.
about the song. Um, all right, one. Cole is the annoying, self-righteous guy everyone accuses Kendrick of being. um, J. Cole is still a bitch. These are big, and these are big, the big platforms, right? And some are just fans, but um, one big platform. I'm not gonna say who the YouTuber is but says Cole has to understand that for the last couple of years, for me anyway, Son was doing heavy rap talk, like his verse in Johnny P's Caddy.
Hmm.
The way Son was talking and floating on his verse just felt like he was telling niggas leap if you feeling froggy. um somebody else says someone told me Cole is better than 99% of the best rappers who were out in 95. I asked him I asked him to name who they were, and I haven't heard from him since. People just say shit. All right, so I'll give one more. Let's see. Everyone's better than Kendrick until it's time to prove it. So as we go through some of these bars for everybody who hasn't heard it. All
Yeah.
right, so the main part of, I guess, what has everybody talking. Because if it would have just been that first verse and it went off, I don't think it would have gotten that reaction. Everybody would have been
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, this is okay. I rock with this. This is dope." Especially with the, like you said, the Lonnie Liston Smith beat,
Yeah.
like one of the best songs ever made. He is
Hmm.
floating lyrically and with his flow on there,
Yeah.
but there are some bars that raises eyebrows, to a lot of hip hop fans, and
Yeah.
so. He says they instigate the fuckery because it's profitable. But singing stop the violence tunes when dudes in the hospital. I pulled the plug because I seen where it was about to go. They wanted blood. They wanted clicks to make their pockets grow. They see the
Mhm.
fire in my pen and think I'm dodging smoke. I wouldn't have lost the battle, dog. I would have lost the bro. I would have gained a foe and all for what? Just to attain some more props from strangers that don't got a clue at what I've been aiming for.
Mhm.
And then
Bars.
yeah, yeah, I mean he's killing it, right?
Mhm.
And then he says, uh props from strangers that don't got a clue what I've been aiming for since the age of 14. Jermaine is no king if it means I gotta dig up dirt and pay the whole team of algorithm bot niggas that just sway the whole thing. All right. So we're gonna stop right here for a second, right? Um I think it's kind of whack to say that I would have won the battle, but you didn't battle.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually heard that differently.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
when I heard it, I
Mhm.
didn't. I mean, we all heard the same thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
literal.
yeah.
I interpreted it
Hmm.
as him saying it's not about winning. It's not about me winning or losing a battle. It's about me losing a friend. But I can see a lot of people didn't interpret that way. A lot of people heard that and interpreted him saying, "Yeah, I wouldn't have lost. Like I would have won anyways. But I just wanted to preserve our
Hmm.
friendship because I would have
Right.
waxed you if I would have waxed you on a record. I'm just trying to preserve. I didn't hear it that way.
Right.
But I do believe parts of that, like parts of those lyrics where he goes, it was bloodshed and I wanted to step out. I didn't want to be a part of that. I believe that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the moral grandstanding that
Yeah.
is a bit odd
Yeah.
because again, these guys, these three guys, Drake, Kendrick, Cole, they've been throwing subliminals and friendly pot shots throughout the years. I mean, J. Cole jumped out the gate first with the first direct diss track, which was 7 Minute Drill. That
Hmm.
dropped 7 Minute Drill dropped before Drake even dropped push-ups.
Yeah.
Like Cole was the first one out the gate with a direct diss. And there's a swath of people who believe that, and I don't, when records drop, I don't really pay attention to the what's going on social media until I listen to it
Hmm.
because I don't want to be influenced. But there's a bunch of people who, after 7 Minute Drill drop, they feel that the reception was lukewarm. People didn't like the track. And then there's a group of people who believe that's why Cole felt compelled to take it back and then
Mm.
delete the song because it got a lukewarm reception. I can't confirm it because I wasn't watching Twitter's reception to that. I like the song 7 Minute Drill, but there's that part too. So I don't know.
Yeah, that another weird part of this verse for me, because I can't front, I did take it as like I wouldn't have. I mean, I could have interpreted wrong, but that's the thing. You writing that, you knew how people was going to
Yeah,
interpret it. You know
yeah,
what I mean? But one thing, and I believe you kind of paused whenever during your reaction for it was like the angle about the bots, like that's like a Drake angle,
yeah,
I don't like I didn't know how to take that. You know what I mean? As far as like you said with the, this we everybody sees. Cole's attempt to take this quote unquote moral high ground. And like you said, it can come off like grandstanding at times. But then to also in the same breath use an angle that Drake used, again, you know how people are going to take this. Like, what do you think he's trying to convey here?
I think he's trying to save face, and it's funny because I think he's is becoming to a point where it's almost like method acting. Like the title of his next album is called The Fall Off, and then
Hmm.
he's doing things that makes it look like he's falling off. So is this
Mm.
all one big grand scheme? No, it's not a
Mhm.
scheme. It's not a scheme. But it's like, come on, bro. But the bot thing, one of my YouTube subscribers actually pointed out that Kendrick also accused Drake of doing the bot thing on
Okay.
616 in LA. So I was like, okay, maybe it's not
Mhm.
exclusively a Drake angle, but it is an angle that's stuck. It's one of Drake's angles towards Kendrick that like no one really remembers. I guess some people remember. They corrected me,
Mhm.
but this wasn't like one of the things Kendrick fans were larping on about Drake. Oh, you have bots. You have that was what Drake people were saying against Kendrick.
Yeah.
So the fact that Cole is repeating it is it makes it seem as if it's a shot towards Kendrick. And again, like you said with the other bar, when he's writing this stuff, he knows what he's saying. This is a guy with double entendres, triple entendres,
Facts.
hidden meanings. He knows how to write and he knows how to make it look like one thing and how not to make it look like one thing.
Hmm.
On top of the song being called Port Antonio, which is where him and Drake, I guess, had some I don't know the story behind it, but the cover of the song is him and Drake. That artwork is him and Drake in Port Antonio, Jamaica. So
Oh
the
wow,
whole
I haven't
song
even
is
seen
like,
the art cover. It's so it's
yeah,
him and Drake.
it's him and Drake, and then the title of the song is referencing the picture, which is the artwork, which is him
Hmm.
and Drake and Port Antonio. And a lot of people think, I don't know if you watch other podcasts, but like Rory and Maul and other like
Hmm.
industry people, they were saying that Drake was on the verge of turning his sights towards J. Cole to try to
Mm.
get some type of victory. And then Drake, he also went on stage this past week and he's talking about, oh, how these people used to be my friends and they're fake
Hmm.
friends and people turn on you. So people, some people, I don't know if this is true, but people started to think it was going to become a Drake versus J. Cole thing, which I said way back when 7 Minute Drill dropped. Like Cole, like, what are you doing? Like, this is going
Hmm.
to end up you versus Drake. But I mean,
So
yeah, the
let's
bot comment think it wasn't exclusively a Kendrick thing, but it is something that Drake and Drake's fans harped on a lot. So when Cole repeats it, it looks like,
yeah.
what the hell are you talking about?
Right. And that's exactly, especially like, on people's initial listen, when they have time to think about it, they may change their minds, but that as soon as it drops, you're like, okay, what are you getting at? But you said that Rory and Maul and a few other podcasters have said that Drake was going to turn his sights to J. Cole.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing.
Mm,
They had gotten word that Drake was kind of shifting, and there was like some. I did a video on this too way back when I forget the title, but you know how Drake is on social media. This is a part of his whole beefing strategy. He gets
mhm,
you at you on social media. He was kind of like laughing and mocking and like throwing little pot shots at J. Cole, liking posts about J. Cole that were negative. Like he was kind of leaning in that direction, and he
mhm,
already kind of on Family Matters and on push-ups kind of like brush Cole aside. Like I don't care what Cole says. Like you're weak. Like Cole's losing sleep over this. Like I'm not though. I'm not Jake. Like he's already kind of
mhm,
leaning that way.
mhm,
And then when you combine that with him being on stage saying real friends, what happened to my real friends? People
mhm.
turn on you. You combine all that plus whatever information industry insiders may have, people closer to the situation. This is what some people are saying. Yes.
Wow. Do you think it was a mistake for J. Cole to hop out there? And once he hopped out there, do you think it was a mistake for him to take his basketball and go home and take the song off of streaming?
I don't think it was a mistake to hop out there because it's just hip hop,
Hmm.
and they were already, him and Drake were already throwing small little shots on first person shooter.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think it was even a misstep for Cole to apologize because if you don't want to do this, I mean, you could be a man and say you don't want to do this. You could be like, yeah, I mean, I don't feel good about this. I don't
Hmm.
really mean this stuff. Actually, I don't even want to do this. I have an album coming out. I want to focus on that. That's fine. And I even think this record is fine. This record is just kind of uneasy to me, but I do think it's mostly positive. I guess it just depends what type of ear you choose to listen to it with.
Yeah.
And I'm just choosing to remain positive because Cole is remaining positive, so it seems.
Right. No doubt, no doubt. You did mention the Drake clip. We saw him at a concert. Um, and he was talking about fake friends and I guess, industry being fake. And I heard I saw a clip of like Charlemagne responding, and he was like, "Man, he seems hurt." Like, do you think is that what did you kind of feel that too whenever you saw that clip? Like, he's not taking this as well as everybody says he is.
Yeah, I mean, at the very end of his rant on stage, it's almost like he's in a trance, like he's
Mm,
talking, but then he snaps out of it, like, oh, whatever,
mm,
like next song. He's like, he kind of
mm,
just snaps out of it mid
mm,
thought, mid sentence. So definitely. And I think a part of that is why Cole dropped that Port Antonio. I think he sees it on Drake's face that Drake is not happy about either with him or just the entire situation. And to avoid any further lyrical warfare, Cole is
mm.
like throwing another peace flag up, but this time for Drake. So I mean,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. However you feel, I,
Positivity.
right?
Positivity.
Toxic positivity. Um, yeah, but even then, he puts up a picture of Solange on his IG, right? And I think a lot of people took that as a slight towards Jay. And then even in that same rant, if I recall correctly, like didn't he like play like a Beyonce, Me, Myself, and I? Um, and so what I've learned about just this whole those three guys, J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake, is like they don't do things out of the blue. It, there's always a little bit of calculation involved and premeditation involved in what they do. Um, and so obviously, Jay-Z being having a job with the NFL and being in charge, or at least they say he is, I guess, of the NFL's halftime show, I guess since the last 3 or 4 years. Um, Obviously that, people are going to take that as a shot at Jay. Um,
I mean, of course, yeah, that's
yeah,
a clear shot at Jay. And people were actually combining those two, like the Rory and Mal and the other people, they were combining, Drake is going to set his sights on Cole and Jay-Z. Like that was a part of
mm,
their whole assumption or vision or foresight.
mhm.
That's what they were hearing. Like those two were combined in Drake's next smoke attempt. So,
So we know that him and Jay-Z have gone back and forth
yep,
like for the longest, right? And but they'll still collaborate with each other because the back and
mhm,
forth never gets like how obviously the Kendrick and Drake battle went.
yeah.
But if Drake if Drake decides to bark up that tree, um, do you think Jay would give him a response? Or like how do you think that would go?
Yeah, I mean, Jay-Z's responded to him before,
Yeah.
on the We Made It remix with Jay Electronica.
Hmm.
Uh, but I don't think Jay-Z is that super invested into it. On Drake's first album, what did Jay-Z say? He said, "Yo, Drake, here's how they gonna come at you with
Mm,
silly rap views trying to distract you."
mm,
I mean, so they've been friends, they've been foes. I don't think it'll ever go off of the rails. Like, I think they have respect for each other, but I don't know if, and I think Jay-Z would respond, but I
yeah.
don't, I don't know if it would be because Jay-Z responds to everything. These little small verses that he puts out every so often,
Mhm.
he'll address like 2 years worth of what happened. He'll address something from 2 years ago, 2 months ago, this and that. So I
Mhm.
think he would put it in his rhymes for sure. But I think it's more of a respect thing between him and Drake. Like
Yeah.
Cole and or Kendrick and Drake, I don't think there was a respect thing
Nah.
there
Nah, there's clearly no love lost between them two. All right,
because they're
so
peers.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I think it feels like it's more than the fact that they're peers. Like I just feel like Kendrick does not like that dude. like with how it just feels like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, their peers aren't there in competition, so there's that added competition factor. Like Drake and Jay-Z aren't peers,
Yeah.
so they aren't in competition for anything. Cole and or not Cole, I keep saying Cole, Kendrick and Drake have been indirectly in competition since the very beginning.
Hmm.
Obviously, Drake popped off first, like in 2008, 2009. Then Kendrick came like 2009, 2010. But they've been constantly compared. So with that comes animosity.
Yeah.
With that comes like sometimes envy.
Hmm.
Kendrick mentions it in his raps on his first EP. He's like, I'm sitting, but it was a Kanye West bar, but he flipped it on Drake. Like I'm sitting with my girl, she listening to Drake. I'm like, damn, this nigga that much better than me. And this is '09 before Drake was even. This is 2009. Drake didn't even have his album out. So
Wow.
there's already that peer
That
competition. Like that history doesn't exist with Drake or yeah, with Drake and Jay-Z. Like they can compete, but they're not in competition. So
right.
I just
I,
don't see either of them getting that heated about this type of stuff. Rap beef.
yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And I totally agree with that 100%. Now, while everything we're still in the aftermath, obviously, of the battle. And while the battle was going on, and now to now, um, a lot of things and ideas can be exaggerated. There are a lot of hyperbole being used to describe, um, different aspects of the battle. Going into it, the big three, right? Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole. Um, and when they write, as they continue to write the book on hip hop and they talk about that era, obviously those three will be,
Hmm.
at the top. Regardless to how anybody feels about,
Hmm. Yeah.
their music or their bars, it's just, it is what it is, right? But it seems like the after the battle, right? And you're looking at aftermath. What I've noticed a lot of people are saying is, all right, so when Kendrick said there is no big three, it's just big me, right? That there's actually some credence to that now. Um, Kendrick will be looked at throughout history as the king of that era.
Yeah.
J. Cole will be looked at as somebody who's dope, who ducks smoke, and and Drake will be looked at as like a dude who was insanely popular, made, I guess, good music for some people who like that kind of music, but extremely corny and is questionable as far as how he moves. Um, like, what are your thoughts about where these guys' legacies are post battle?
Well, yeah, they're big three, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about the peers in the competition. They're mentioned the big three together because they always kept each other either in their rhymes or on their features. They were always like adjacent to each other, whether they were on tour, on features with each other, or whether they were subliminally dissing each other. Because they weren't the only three rappers to come out during that era. There was a lot of rappers who popped during that era. Someone you could make a case for in the big three is Nicki Minaj. I
Yeah,
mean, way, she's extremely popular to this day, and she has more sons than all of them. Like the
Big
whole
Crit is
female
my
rap
favorite
game.
from that era.
Yeah, Big Crit was out there, but he didn't really have the popularity. But yeah, in terms of quality, for Big Crit is a way better producer than J. Cole is a producer. No, I mean, no offense to J. Cole, when you talk about rapper producers, Future, but I think that's what Kendrick and Drake were battling over,
Mhm.
that number one spot. That's what
Yeah.
it all was about. And people always saw Cole up there too, but I don't think J. Cole sees himself on the same level as Kendrick and Drake.
Mhm.
I say this, and I break this down in a video that I did
Mhm.
recently. Like when Cole talks about Kendrick and Drake, it's almost like he's talking about them in like he grew up listening to their music or something. Like he talks about them like they're his elders.
Right.
Like, 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 what
Yeah.
are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
Kendrick doesn't talk about you guys like that, and Drake definitely doesn't talk about you guys like that. Drake tries to sun you guys. Like,
Mhm.
Kendrick, I'm gonna take you on my tour. Uh, Cole, I'm gonna bring you on stage with me. I'm gonna gift you a feature. Like, Cole is the only one who seems to think he's behind the other two. So yeah, I think this battle seals it. It's Kendrick one, but then Drake is two. It's one of the greatest hip hop battles of all time because both
Facts.
of them were swinging.
Yeah.
If one dude just got knocked out, in a boxing match, it's not one of the best boxing matches of all
Facts.
time. It's a first round knockout.
Right.
It's one of the greatest battles of all time because Drake really he brought his pen there too. And then yeah, Cole doesn't want to do he doesn't want anything to do with it. So he's number three. He solidified himself as number three. Um, even though I don't think he's number three. I enjoy Cole's music more than Drake's.
Me too.
But Drake, he came to battle, and Drake has some great bars in that battle.
Mhm.
The whole Michael Jackson thing. It's all
Oh,
on
when
your
I
face,
heard
like what
Family
happened to
Matters,
Mike.
I was like,
Yeah, that's
my,
that last verse. The last
mhm,
verse, the last beat switch that's focused on Kendrick. All the rest of it is like Bad Girls Club. Like it's like just gossip tease, like that type. But that last
mhm,
verse where he's really getting in the bars, it's all in your face, like what happened to Mike.
mm,
Your darkest secrets coming to light. Like
mm. Wow.
maybe I'm praising you actually, Mike. Michael was praying his speeches would change. Some people, it was crazy, man. Like those are, I think, the best bars in the whole beef. We just
Mm.
talk lyrics.
Yeah, one thing. First off, that was some of the most fun I had with hip hop in a while. Being online and
Hmm.
seeing, and then you, and then seeing somebody else say, "Yo, Kendrick just dropped again," and you're like, "Come on, man!"
Yeah.
That was a fun time. But obviously, in today's time, media and a lot of media is on YouTube. Hip hop media, the best hip hop media, I would say, is on YouTube. Again, you have one of the best hip hop channels on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Nah, we're gonna keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? You do, but uh, there were people like academics, um, and I probably watched maybe like 30 minutes of one of his live streams whenever I forgot it was when somebody had just dropped. I think when might have been when Drake had just dropped. No, I think I probably watched about 30 minutes of his live stream when Drake dropped and about probably at 30 minutes when Kendrick dropped. And
Okay.
man, like it was like and I it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? Like um I just didn't, the commentary was just corny to me, right? And so, but whenever you, as somebody in hip hop media, as somebody who does this, like, obviously, we're all going to have our biases and who we like the
Hmm.
best. Thing I like about you is you didn't hide it. You were like, yo, I've rocked with Kendrick. I like Kendrick's music better than I like Drake's music, but you were still able to critique things on Kendrick's side, you know what I mean, as well. But what do you think what did you think about the media coverage during the battle?
I thought academics. Well, I got a lot of respect for academics. I just hope he just gets off of this like Drake glazing tour that he's on because it's
Yeah.
ruining his credibility. It's literally ruining his credibility
Mm,
because he's a guy who, when he has biases, like he's still able to be fair in his
mhm,
analysis, which I think is something I try to do.
mhm.
But now it's like he's creating narratives. It's ruining his reputation. I just hope he either stops doing it or just stops talking about the situation because it's very obvious to everyone that he's co-opted or there's like Kendrick said in the 616, he's compromised. There's something going on to where he's not as fair as he usually is.
Mhm.
And I've done videos on that and people agree, his own chat agrees. But I thought the media coverage, I think a lot of us ate off this, man.
Man, for real.
A
I
lot of us ate
heard.
off this. I went to I took my girl to the Ritz Carlton in Palm Springs just
Oh,
based off one of my videos that I did.
wow.
It was two
Already.
based off two of my videos
Yeah.
that I did, and
Because Kendrick didn't copy. Kendrick said no copyright strikes, man. He let everybody eat. That's I mean, such a dope move at that time that
and Cole just did that too. Cole's recent tracks, the one with Daylight and then the
Mhm.
Port Antonio, those are monetizable. He's not putting copyright
Wow.
takedowns on those. He's not.
Dope.
He's letting people react to it. So it's a smart thing to do
Yeah.
as an artist. But
Yeah.
I thought the media coverage was good. For at first from academics, but then right around, like when you watch his reaction to Euphoria, it's an honest reaction.
Hmm.
Even though he's a Drake fan, everybody
Yeah,
knows
he was
this.
like,
He's bopping to it.
yeah,
He's like,
yeah,
okay, so he can
yeah.
give him a props. Like somewhere around where the battle started getting out of hand for Drake, like I would say Meet the Grams, that's when it kind of
Hmm.
started looking a little strange in the light for me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, and then that next day with Not Like Us, he just went off the rails with how he yeah, I was like, all right, man. But you had you know, it's something I was gonna ask you anyway, but I had you you've done a video on it. Because this is something that comes up a lot in hip hop. Um Tommy Richmond, uh blew up off of the $1 Million Baby song.
Mhm.
Um, I think I first heard it on TikTok or something.
I've actually never heard that song. I heard a little bit of it in Starbucks, but
Really,
I've never heard that whole song.
and on the Wingstop commercial, right? Because
I've
it's
never
on
seen
the
it. I don't know.
it's on the Wingstop commercial now.
I'll be on YouTube. I don't even watch music. I'll be on YouTube.
I but so, he said he put out a tweet that he later deleted says I am not a hip hop artist or something of that nature, right? And
Hmm.
so the first thing that I thought was Post Malone and Miley Cyrus, right? Um
That's what he thought too.
yeah,
That's what he thought too.
right.
But
Right.
go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So that's the first thing that I thought. And it's like we have even though $1 Million Baby I guess could be considered like an R&B song or something maybe. Um these days hip hop and R&B are so intertwined
Hmm.
that it's it can in a lot of ways the genre can be one, right? Like I know it's not. Obviously one is singing, but again, the
They sing
way
it in rap songs too. They sing it in rap songs also. Yeah.
exactly, right? And so I found that odd. Um, what were your thoughts on that tweet and delete about, hey, I'm not a hip hop artist?
Yeah. When Tommy Richmond put that out, I think he was thinking of Post Malone
Mhm,
also because like when Post Malone started, and I just don't. This is when I start doing videos about this. This is when I lose subscribers, but I don't be giving a fuck. When I do like when Post Malone first came out, even before White Iverson,
mhm,
he had other genres of music.
mhm,
He'd always been doing that. It was him and his brother. His brother's playing the guitar. They started off with
mm,
him doing lyrics and his
mhm,
brother playing guitar, or maybe it was vice versa, and his brother was writing his lyrics or something. To
mhm,
all different types of stuff. It just so happened the song that people gravitated to was White Iverson, so they peg him as a hip hop artist.
mm,
And now because he's white, it's like now you can't. It's almost like a box. Like
mhm.
you either keep doing hip hop, like there's no way to like how if you're a white artist, how do you transition from doing hip hop into doing other types of music?
Right.
Like without offending everybody. So when Tommy Richmond says that, and it's a real question in the comments, if you guys know, like put it in the comments. What's a proper way to transition out of rap into, let's say you started like Post Malone with your brother playing the guitar, writing all types of music, and then one hip hop song blows up, but you want to get to your other types of music too.
Mm,
How do you transition out without offending people?
mhm,
So when Tommy Richmond said, I'm not a hip hop artist, I think he was trying to think ahead. Like I don't even he doesn't even rap. He has hip hop influences in his music from what I've heard. I haven't heard much from him, but he has hip hop influences, but it's not just straight rap. So
yeah.
I think he was looking at it like I'm not going to be a rapper. Like
Mhm, mhm,
even though like I have a lot of black fans and like I'm hip hop adjacent for some reason, they're putting my music hip hop adjacent instead of pop and R&B adjacent. Like my music in the future is going to be different, similar to a Post Malone. So I think he was trying to get ahead of the criticism. Like
mm,
I'm not a hip hop artist.
mhm,
So when I do transition and start doing other different types of music, I don't get the whole racial backlash that Post Malone got. But then I think there's no way to win in this situation. I said it in my video.
mhm,
But
mhm,
then people took that and they were like, well, you're stealing from hip hop without trying to claim hip hop. And it's just like, I just think hip hop is gate kept in the wrong ways. It's gate
Mm,
kept on race. Country music is not gate kept on race. The number one country song, the number one country song in the well, the number one song on the Billboard charts right now is a country song by a black man named Shabuzi, who
yeah.
also on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter country album. They don't gatekeep it on race. But if you are from outside of their culture, yeah, you're not just going to pop out with a country song out of nowhere, Lil Nas X, and expect that we're just going to start inviting you to the CMA Awards and you're going to get on our charts. No, no. What you need to do, you need to go and get one of our legends, feature him, do some legwork. That's why the Old Town Road remix with Billy Ray Cyrus came out.
Hmm.
No, you're going to do some work first, legwork, network in our community, then we'll bless you with that. Beyonce, you're just not going to come with a country album and just think you're just going to take over.
What did you?
I kind of wish that hip hop was that way.
Yeah, me
Like
too.
it's gate kept. The country music is gate kept the right way.
Hmm.
Hip hop music is gate kept on race, and it the way it's gate kept doesn't make sense. It's just it's not effective to me. It's not productive either.
What did you think about that? Like, I, I think Beyonce got no CMA award nominations, but I think she got Grammy award nominations for that country, quote unquote, country album that she dropped.
That's called proper gatekeeping. CMA is like, we don't care what the Grammys do. You can go get your Grammys, but Beyonce, until you can, we're not going to completely ban you or exile you from our charts, from our awards, but you need to come into our community. I mean, you need to do some work, hire some of our producers, our musicians, like do some features, be shown in public with our artists. You're not just going to come into our genre and just drop something and then think you're about to take over,
Mm.
and yeah, like I said, I kind of wish hip hop was like
Well,
that.
well,
Hip
when it
hop is
comes
not
to
like that.
genre hopping, isn't that something that Drake has been criticized for? Because, from the Afro beats to uh
Yeah, the
I
grime, the UK
yeah,
grime
the
and all that.
UK grime and
But
all of
this is
that.
my point. Like it's no one really like people pointed out, but he's never really held accountable to it because he's black.
Mm,
I
mm,
mean,
mhm,
I just say the uncomfortable. I wouldn't say it's truth. It's just my opinion. I say
mhm,
my uncomfortable truth. Now, if he was white and he was doing this to that to this to that, people will bring it up a lot more often. Nowadays, people just accepted it. Controller, One Dance, these were all hit records. Like it wasn't like people were up in arms about what he was doing.
mhm.
So it's because he's black. Yeah, I just think and I was gonna say something about the Beyonce thing. I forgot though. The Beyonce, I'll think of it later.
Yeah, yeah. I did find that interesting that she didn't get any CMA um or nominees and did get Grammy nominees. The Grammys are definitely in a weird place right now. It's like they're trying to kiss ass to be friends. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of Grammys, I think didn't they Not Like Us got submitted to the Grammys. So if that joint wins a Grammy,
It's gonna win. It's the most
yeah.
popular song. It's gonna win multiple Grammys. It's probably gonna win Rap Song of the Year, and it's probably gonna win Video of the Year.
Wow. Wow. Like, does that put an exclamation point on the battle to you, or is it that doesn't matter?
Not Like Us was that. Not Like Us itself was the exclamation point.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
all this is just a victory lap. R.I.P. Nipsey. All this is just a victory lap. So
You you know when Jay, I guess, reached out to Kendrick for the Super Bowl,
mhm.
um a lot of people felt like Kendrick, that was kind of a bad move for the simple fact that when we look at the NFL, right? Um I just saw like I just saw I guess a story with Robert Kraft, owner of the Patriots, was out there brought NFL players to Israel to hang out with IDF soldiers, and then you had the whole Kaepernick. I know, right? You had the
Yeah.
whole Kaepernick situation. You had um you You even had Jay-Z who got some criticism because of his, uh his statement, we're done kneeling, right?
Mm.
And so we have the NFL who in a lot of people's eyes does not have a good history on how it treats its black players, from the Rooney Rule and the lack of black coaches, executives, and owners, that has always been an issue, right? With that said, a lot of people look at Kendrick as a conscious rapper, even though I don't look at Kendrick that way, right? I look at
Yeah.
him as he has conscious songs. I look at him as a more of like, I don't know, it's art. Like he makes art, you know what I'm saying? That a lot of people like. But anyway, he has this, regardless of whether he likes it or not, he has this image. And this image is somebody that's down for the people, somebody's down
Mm.
for the cause. And then they're like, yo, you working for the NFL. Like, what were
Yeah.
your thoughts on that criticism that he got?
I mean, the only people who are going to, I don't even validate that criticism because Kendrick Lamar says himself he's not a conscious rapper. And
Mm,
he says himself he's not the savior. All this uplifting black people's narrative that people put on him. I think Kendrick, he might have two or maybe three songs about uplifting black people, even on the To Pimp a
to the
Butterfly,
butterfly.
which is the pro black album. Like there's a Black of the Berry.
Hmm.
It's probably the blackest song. And even at the end of that song, it pissed off black activists because he had the Trayvon Martin bar. Why
Yeah.
did I weep when Trayvon Martin was killed in the streets?
Yeah.
Bang and make
Yeah.
me kill niggas blacker than me. Like people hated that. The activists hated him over that bar because it's kind of like
Yeah, I remember
reverts to
that.
the Republican black on black crime
Hmm.
talking point.
Hmm.
So I mean, he's never back. He doubled down on that bar. So I don't put that stigma on Kendrick. I know a lot of people were mad that it wasn't Lil Wayne.
Yeah. Now,
People
so
think
what
because
were
we
your
had
thoughts
our
about that though? Because it doesn't seem like
yeah
there's really a history of the hometown artist getting the Super Bowl nod, right? Like somebody had brought up the fact that when Prince got it, it wasn't in Minnesota.
yeah
And Lil Wayne, somebody who admittedly says that he doesn't remember his songs like that, right? I've never seen him perform live, so I can't say whether he's a good live performer or not. But I mean, it even caused Nicki Minaj to, it was Nicki and who else was, and Mac Main, and they were kind of,
Master P and all this.
yeah, yeah, they was kind of hopping out the window about
Look,
that.
the only reason why people think that a New Orleans artist should get a New Orleans Super Bowl, even though there's no precedent for that, is
Yeah,
because in LA, when the Super Bowl was in LA, which was like 2 years ago, and then an LA team was playing the Rams and they won, the halftime show was Dre,
Snoop,
Eminem, 50 Cent, Snoop,
Mary J.
Kendrick.
Blige.
But note, none of those artists are from LA.
Mm,
Kendrick is from Compton.
mm,
Dre is from Compton.
mm.
Snoop Dogg is from Long Beach. 50 Cent is from Southside Jamaica, Queens. Mary J. Blige is from somewhere in New York. I think she's from Brooklyn. And Eminem is from Detroit. None of those artists are from LA anyways. So it wasn't really a hometown Super Bowl. Like Compton is not LA, nor is Long Beach. You meet somebody from Long Beach and
Mm.
ask them, are you from LA or Long Beach? They're gonna say Long Beach. Like, no, it's just different out here. So people think because the LA Super Bowl had LA artists that everything is gonna follow that, but it's not. Like those artists weren't even from LA themselves. And Kendrick had the biggest year for any rapper. Rap was pretty in a stale place,
Mhm.
until that whole Kendrick and Drake thing popped off. So Kendrick deserves that. And if Drake would have won the beef, Drake would have deserved it. That's how I feel.
Hey, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. I think a lot of people use this to try to say it was a gotcha moment. Remember where they were like, well, Drake turned the Super Bowl down because of the Kaepernick shit.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
I know you saw that too, though, right? Like that's what his fans be going crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the narratives that they put out.
If he did, salute to him.
Yeah.
Kaepernick took his payday though.
Yeah,
So
he did. 40 what? 40 we got that $40 million Nike contract
so,
too.
so y'all turning down paydays. Kaepernick isn't. So y'all turning down paydays from the NFL, but Kaepernick is not turning down his NFL paydays. So and notice he
Um,
had to talk about it either.
did I know you saw and we don't have to speak on it if you don't want to, but I know you saw the company man and what's the
Yeah,
dirt issues.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, for people that don't know, can you kind of explain what that whole issue was, right? And what's the dirt and who the company men are first to kind of just, lay it out there.
Well, the company man, when I first met him, I was like, "Yo, I've been watching your videos for a long time."
Hmm.
But it was actually a different company man I was thinking about. There's another guy on YouTube called the Company Man, and he
Oh,
does
really?
breakdowns of businesses
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
why certain businesses rose and why certain businesses fell. His name is the Company Man, and I think Justin Hunt his is Company Man. So I was like, oh, I've been watching your videos a lot because I saw he had commented on one of my videos. I was like, no shit, the Company Man listens to hip hop, but he actually, Justin Hunt, the Company Man, actually is a proper journalist. I'm not a journalist.
Facts.
I'm just a nigga on YouTube saying opinions and stuff. Justin Hunt is a proper journalist. He's worked for reputable companies, and What's the Dirt is a YouTuber, but he has like journalistic parts, especially in his research and his breakdown. I'm not neither of these guys. I listen to when I do my videos, I listen, this is my first reaction. I'm not listening to this shit 20, 30 times, breaking down, trying to everything I break down and analyze in my videos is usually off one listen.
Mm.
So I don't know what their beef was, but I know people's beef with What's the Dirt. This is some people hit me over it. I don't take a side here, right?
Hmm.
I've always felt that What's the Dirt reaches, I tell him this to his face. Justin Hunt, I have his number. I have What's the Dirt's number. I tell What's the Dirt to his face. I'm not taking sides. I say that, so I'm not taking side. But I told What's the Dirt, bro, you're reaching. And he's like, yeah. And some things I reach, but I know he reaches. I break down videos, I break down bars. You're going to end up reaching
Hmm.
or just being flat out wrong or hearing a bar wrong. Um, I felt that when he did the 616 in LA reaction by Kendrick, and I felt that with the Euphoria. And I did a video about it. Like Kendrick doesn't require a 2.5 hour breakdown.
Mm.
He just doesn't. He's not that
Right.
type of rapper. Um, but I just noticed it was funny that so many people had an issue when What's the Dirt was reaching with the Drake Family Matters joint.
Hmm.
Because I've been having an issue with the reaches all along. Y'all seem to only be having issues when it's Drake. So that was my point to people. As far as the him and Justin Hunt thing, I don't know. I'm not into that. I'm
Yeah.
cool with both of these guys. Um, but that was my point about the What's the Dirt Family Matters reaction. And him and the company man, they've seemed to have
They seem
patched
that they have
differences.
squashed it.
So
Yeah.
if you were getting in the middle of that,
Hmm.
they squashed their beef. Now where do you end up? They've already
Right.
squashed what they had going on. Your words stick forever. This is why I don't talk about niggas like that.
Facts. Facts. 2024, man. I guess some of my favorite albums this year has been Common, that New Kweli is I've really listened to a lot.
Okay.
Lupe Samurai,
Yeah,
love
that's
that
okay.
album.
Okay.
Love Ka's album.
Yeah, yeah.
Love Dochi's
Actually,
album.
I didn't like that Kyle album that much as
You
much as the other.
didn't?
Nah, it
I don't
was
think it's his best work, but
yeah.
with being a fan of his, yeah, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely not one of his. It's not his top five album or anything like that. But what do you think about this year? So we're almost over. What do you think about this year in hip hop, and what are some of your favorite albums?
I think it's been extremely weak, and I felt
Mm,
that way about 2023.
mm-hmm,
And I felt it started going downhill 2022.
mm,
Like the last amazing year that we had was 2018. That's when we had the Daytona joint by Pusha T. We had
mm-hmm,
the Victory Lap by Nip. We had the Swimming in Circles by Mac Miller. We had so many great albums. I feel like the only reason people aren't talking about how bad the releases are this year is because of Kendrick Drake.
mm,
It's been completely dry in hip hop for like 2 or 3 years, and the charts reflect that.
right,
Charts reflect how dry it's been. I think there's maybe it's only two hip hop artists who've been number one in the past 2 years: Kendrick and Doja Cat.
mm.
I can't even tell you my favorite hip hop album. I've listened to them. They're on my tape. Like none of them even pop into my head. Even someone like Ka, he dropped a cool album, but it wasn't like.
Mhm.
And I bought that joint. That was like $20. I bought it because I support Ka, but it wasn't
Mhm.
like even in my reaction, I'm kind of like cool or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this ain't Honor Killed the Samurai or
Nah,
anything
that's my
like that.
favorite joint from him. But
This
yeah.
ain't Days with Dr. Yenlo. This is not any of that. But I did like the No Worries joint, Anderson Paak and Knowledge.
Mhm.
Yes, Lord. Um, Most Def daughter, Layla, she dropped a great album. She kind of sounds like Sid from Odd Future.
Mhm.
She dropped a great album. Oh, let me just go to top five rap website
Yeah,
because this is where I keep
yeah.
my lists and stuff out. Because like the fact that nothing even stands out in my head is an issue. The Dochi joint, it was good. The Lupe Samurai, I really like that.
Do you think the Dochi joint is being overrated a little bit?
No, I don't think it's overrated. I don't think it's
Mhm.
overrated. I think it's good. I think she's getting the proper praise. She's a woman in hip hop doing something different.
Yeah, she's very
Oh,
artistic. I rock with it. I as dude, some of the subject matter I just don't care about, but
right.
like she's definitely extremely talented.
And the J. Cole might delete later. Who
Oh
knows?
yeah, I mean I like that album too. I forgot. So so
Yeah.
so okay, yeah, you're right. 2018 obviously was an amazing year. I do remember reading an article midway through the year about how at that time, before the battle, there hadn't been uh, a number one single, for hip
This
hop.
Doja. This
Yeah,
Doja.
and so like that means that the fans are obviously responding.
And they're moving on.
Right? And so what is it that in your opinion, that the fans are like, hey man, like what are the fans not feeling anymore? Are they growing up and getting tired of like super simplistic shit or things that sound the same? Like what's happening?
Well, part of the fan base is young people, especially for hip hop. Like you
Mm-hmm.
really have to be like appealing to a younger base to really even get on the Billboard top 10.
Hmm.
And all the artists who were popular 15 years ago are
Hmm.
still all the top dogs right now.
Right.
Drake, Kendrick, Cole. I would say Big Sean, but he just sold like 20K, so I guess he's not a top dog anymore. But all this rappers who were popular 15 years ago are still the same ones leading the charts. There's a few exceptions, Nicki Minaj. There's a few exceptions like Doja Cat is really Doja Cat is really the only female rapper right now that's selling other than Nicki Minaj. All the rest of them are flopping. Megan Thee
Meg
Stallion,
ain't
uh,
selling either.
Meg, she can move 50, 60K. But coming up from like we listened to hip hop in the 2010s, late 90s, like 50, 60K is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
what are we talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, it's wood.
But she's selling a lot more than other people.
Mhm.
Like Lotto, as popular as she is on social media, does not sell records. City Girls don't sell records. Coi Leray, Ice Spice, none of these girls sell records. The only new girl that sells records is Doja, and only girls in general, Nicki, Doja, and you could kind of put Meg in because she's capable of moving more than 50,000 units. I think the issue is that we had such a flood of new artists, like in 2010,
Mhm.
Drake, Wiz, Freddie Gibbs, Nipsey, Currency, Kendrick, Cole, uh, Alchemist had a rebirth.
Mhm.
Prodigy had a rebirth. Like we had so much bubbling at that time. We
Mhm.
have not had, Young Thug, Future, Gucci had a rebirth. We have not had a new wave of artists like that
Right.
since the artists who are going to be the top dogs have died.
Mhm.
Triple X, Tentacion, Juice World. These were the guys who were like top charters when they were alive. Pop Smoke was
Mhm.
trending in that direction. There's not enough new young rappers who are capable of topping the charts. You have guys like Yeet, who is like a very acquired taste.
Mhm.
You guys like dang, I was just thinking of OT7 Kwani, very acquired taste. Destroy Lonely, very acquired taste. Like they're not like a hit maker like a Travis Scott came out during the era I was talking about. Lil Durk, like the same people who were popular 15 years ago, they're still at the top of rap. There's really only one rapper who's come out since like 2018 who's a chart topper, and maybe two. You could put Uzi up there, but he has to drop. We got to see, can Lil Uzi Vert sell records?
Hmm.
You know, because he's like 30 now. Does he? He's 30, so is his music going to cross over to the with his fans?
Right.
And Doja Cat is really the only one that moves records. So I think that's a part of the issue. And
You
when
mi-
Doja dropped, look what happened. Number one. After
right.
her, no one else until who? Kendrick, a nigga from 15 years ago.
Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. Uh, obviously the way record labels move, there's no artist development or any
No, no.
A&R type of shit going on no more. And you mentioned Ice Spice, right? And I remember, was it was it 2 years whenever we first pretty much saw her, or was it two
Yeah,
years
we're
ago?
about to
And so I saw we all saw that first song of that video.
Munch.
Yeah. And I was like, all right, okay, right? Like I didn't have I it's more of the same, right? And then to my surprise, because look, even if you're being whack ain't never stopped the artist from blowing up. You know what I'm
Talking
saying?
free.
It ain't never stopped the artist from blowing up. So, but I can't front. I was mad surprised at the trajectory that Ice Spice went on, right? And then you starting to see her with what's the chick that Travis Kelce's
Taylor
dating?
Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Um,
Chick that Travis Kelsey's dating is crazy. She's the
I
most
know, right?
bitch
I
in the
know.
entire
Hey,
world.
man, I know, bro. I know. But uh, but yeah, you start to see it with her, and then you start to, and then and no, let me matter of fact, let me rewind a little bit. All right, so as we just mentioned, there's pretty much no A&Ring or artist development type of thing going on with these labels, right? So she begins to blow up, and she's getting put in front of these large crowds, and like her stage presence was like terrible, right? Like, but I'm not even knocking her necessarily in the early days for that, because if you've never done it and nobody's teaching you, right?
Right.
I mean, because even with Drake, I'm not a Drake fan, but I remember like when he first came out, he wouldn't even look in the camera, kind of like he used to do this thing where he would look off, like kind of thing. And but now obviously he's
Jay-Z
comfortable.
too.
Yeah, yeah, he's Jay-Z, yeah, but now he's comfortable, right? But how does somebody like Ice Spice, right? How do they? I guess in our eyes, we feel like she's blown up,
Mm-hmm.
but when she drops an album, it moved like 20K or something, right?
I don't
Like,
know.
like
20 might be being generous.
yeah, I might be generous, right? But like, how does that happen? Because like, the hip hop community will be like, yo, we see her everywhere, right?
We
She's
all know her
promoted
name.
here, she's promoted there. We see her everywhere. But then when it comes to dropping her album, those numbers are like, nah, but we not rocking with that.
Which I don't even know. I think a part of it is the streaming
Hmm.
aspect. I mean,
Hmm.
someone can play one of your songs 1,500 times, and that's one album sale or something like that, something
Yeah.
like the equivalent. So
Hmm.
she realistically, she could have hundreds of millions of streams,
Hmm.
which makes sense why she's so popular, but that might equate to like 12,000 albums sold. So
Right.
would she
Yeah,
be
that's a good
popular
point.
back in the day? I don't know because back in the day, like people had to have an incentive to go buy your album.
Hmm.
I got to get up, get dressed, go to the store, and then spend my hard-earned money to buy
Hmm.
your album. Like, and so like the songs you put out have to be of a quality, not even of quality, because a lot of people sold back then. I have to be interested enough to buy your album. So maybe she would have sold more records back in the day, maybe not.
I
But I
don't
like
think so.
Ice Spice. I like Ice Spice
I
because
can't
I
do it, bro.
understand she got a fat ass. Like I like her. Like
Crazy. Um, recently, obviously, Jaguar Wright has been in the news constantly, but she's been in, on the black news circuit like for years talking crazy. Like we knew she was throwed, right? Um, but Pierce Morgan peeks into the black community like, oh, she seems like she's doing rounds over there. Let me bring her over there. Then she comes over there and she starts saying things about Jay and Beyonce that she can't verify, that nobody can really verify. And then Pierce Morgan had to come and say, well, make a public apology to Jay-Z and Beyonce. Uh, um, and somebody made a good point about it too. There was like, yo, Jaguar Wright will never be on big, um, a big show like a Pierce Morgan or any type of entertainment segment on a, you know, I guess I hate to say reputable because I don't like Pierce Morgan as a person, right? But you know what I mean, right? Something that has a platform that big.
Yeah.
But so what are your thoughts on this, like this whole Jaguar Wright thing and how she kind of got, Pierce Morgan in some hot water to the point where he had to apologize?
Well, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like, why would you pay their attention? It's crazy. Obviously, I know how Piers Morgan did it. He did it for the views. He got
Yeah.
press. And yeah, she done ruined her. He ruined his opportunity, or she's ruined her opportunity to do something like that again on a big platform. She
Hmm.
should have never, bro. You keep these people on the small platforms. Why would you bring them up? And even if you don't agree with what they're saying, by having them on a big platform, it validates their claims.
Hmm.
The thing about Jaguar, right? She throws nuggets of truth in a pile of BS.
Hmm.
So then when she says the truth that people know to be true and it comes to be true, then like a not so intelligent person starts looking at everything else she says is true because
Hmm.
she was right about this one thing. This she's crazy, and she has an interview with Orlando Brown
I
coming out,
saw that.
which is it doesn't do her any favors because it's
Hmm.
like mocking her. Let's put two
Hmm.
crazy people together. That's the thought behind that. Let's put two crazy people together. Yeah, she was just on with Piers Morgan, who is
Now on with
respected
Orlando
news source.
Brown.
I mean,
Right.
if we like him or not, he's respected.
Hmm.
Now she's on with Orlando Brown. Like she
Hmm.
should have said no to that. She
Right.
should have said no
Absolutely.
because it's just going to be a minstrel show. Is actually the proper
Facts.
term for
Like
it.
you not offended? You not offended they asked you to come on with Orlando Brown? Like
I'm gonna
uh,
watch it though. So it's for real. I think it's
everybody
real
go.
life productions, real life
Yeah.
street stars. I think that's who's doing the interview. I'm
Oh
gonna watch it.
wow. Right, right,
It's gonna
right.
be funny, but I'm not watching
Yes.
to get no
It's
truth.
gonna be, man, it's gonna be so many clips, man. It's gonna be a wild time on the internet.
Yeah, that's dropping tomorrow too. I think.
Is it really? Um, I kind of want to go back to where we are in hip hop now. I don't know if it's because I saw, I think I saw today or yesterday. I tried to look it up while we were building, but it was about I want to say Common and Pete Rock's album was number one on the hip hop charts on Billboard still.
Okay.
Um, Obviously that's an album that old heads such as myself uh are gonna rock with, right? But for that album to still be number one on the charts, are we seeing the younger generation, I guess, begin to become a little more sophisticated in the type of hip hop they
Mm,
rock with?
mm. It's not young people listening to that.
Yeah. I
It's
was
not young
hoping.
people. It's not
I
young
was
people. Yeah,
hoping.
I would hope
I
so.
was hoping, you know what I'm saying?
No, that young people's the issue is that they don't have their guy. They have a
Mm,
bunch of people that are scattered.
hmm.
But if it was, and I don't know who's dropping albums right now
Yeah.
in terms
Yeah.
of who's there for the young base. I think like Playboy Cardi's dropping soon. Like if Playboy Cardi and Common drop the same week,
It's
Common,
Cardi that's going to hit the charts
yeah,
higher. Yeah.
or even if Yeet or like
Bro, there was somebody you did a review
oh
on.
The Whippets. But I know T7 Finding he's horrible. Actually has some. I heard a song that
Bro,
someone told me that was a
I went
mixtape.
to
It was
listen and I
horrible.
was like, this shit is
Yeah,
trash,
it was
bro.
horrible. So like, someone told me it's just a mixtape of throwaways.
Okay,
I went and
okay.
listened to one of his other songs. I think it was called Dame Lillard. It wasn't as bad as the other stuff. So if he gets better, I'll do a video saying he got better. But yeah, it's just the fact that yeah, Common and Pete Rock, it's good that the older, or not even say older, there are people of all ages who listen to it, but
Yeah,
it's good they're supporting it. But I
yeah.
think the reason that went number one is because who
There
else
ain't
dropped
shit.
that week?
Yeah, I
Like
got you.
artists try to drop during weeks where no one else drops. This is what the labels does. Like because they want the number one spot. So who else
I
dropped during the week?
I just hold out this hope sometime that bars will become more important to now obviously they're important to people like you and a lot of other hip hop fans and I even saw some people like say that they hope that this is the outcome from the Drake and Kendrick battle is bars being important again. But like when you look at some of the stuff and it's not all I don't like to generalize, you know what I mean? It's not all, but obviously whenever you look at some of the stuff that the 16 to 17, 18, 19, 20, it's like, yo, I don't even understand this shit, right? Like I don't mind saying that, right? It's not made for me. But what I do understand is yo, if you could barely rhyme, like that's regardless of how experimental you are with the type of shit that you drop, right? Like and that's another thing. I don't want to get it confused because even you know, back in the day, I was still a fan of Master P. I didn't listen to Master P for the same reason I would listen to Nas,
Yeah.
right? Um, but there was still something different. It feels like maybe for me, right? Even with the Master P, we knew he couldn't rap, but there was something.
Like he was trying at least.
Yes, and he was trying, and there was a reality, I guess and a subject matter, not on all his songs, right? But on certain things like Mama, I don't want to see you cry. These type of things that where you like, all right, there's some we're letting you in to see the type of person I am, right? When it comes to a lot of the new stuff, dude, it seems like there's such a small box of what the subject matter is
Yeah.
that I feel like even young people are going to start getting tired of
Yeah, I think this is one of the good things about hip hop falling off the charts.
it.
I think that people who just want to get a quick bag off of hip hop, they're going to see that this is not the genre to do it with. It's not even charting. Like
Hmm.
reggaeton and all this other stuff is what we need to be doing. So then hip hop will be left to the people who actually want to do hip hop. So I'm all for it. I'm all for hip hop falling off the charts. Let's get back to the underground. Let's get back to, competition. Sorry, J.Cole. Let's get back to competition. And let's get back to bars. Yeah. Good beats, good bars. Let's get back to it.